Before I start, I just wanted to thank a few people for helping out this morning. First of all, Sarah Katz and the Holiday Committee, thank you so much. Moshe Kamenetsky, Jeffrey, her, and the entire band for beautiful spirited singing and dancing. Terry's crew, and of course, nothing in what WYHS happens without the expertise and help of Claudia Cohn. Thank you so much, Claudia. One more announcement at the end of today. Those who want to pick up your phones. Pick up your phones. You're going to be picked up outside the near basketball court after Mincha. So you can pick up the phones. Any phone you dropped off at Shira, you pick up after Mincha by the basketball court.
One more Mincha-related announcement. I didn't tell you. The JV team has the boys JV. Right? Boys JV has a very close window, so they're not going to dive in. They're going to go right after the last bell, 3:23, to the bus. They work out a mincha meeting on the bus, but I think they won't make it unless they leave that.
When I was first asked to speak about Rabbi Mrs. Schochet, I was very nervous. When I was nervous, I thought to myself, the Shochets. What can I talk about the Shochets? What am I going to say? What can I possibly think about talking about the Shochets? Not because there's not much to say. There's a lot to say. But it happens to be that the day of the birth that Rabbi Schochet was born. So Rabbi Schochet spoke in the morning for a few minutes, and he mentioned the obvious qualities that you all see: the dedication to their students, the excitement they bring, the energy they have, and those are all things you see. I taught in a class. I taught in a class next to Rabbi Schochet for 1 year. I'm not just going old, getting hard of hearing, but the yelling, the excitement Rabbi Schochet has in his teaching still reverberates in my ear. I sit out in classes sometimes, and literally, Mr. Schochet's class, you got to come there. You got to be before class starts. You better be there with a piece of paper and a pen and your chumash open. Because if you miss that first line, that's it. She's off. She's off and going. And those are all things that you know. They're incredible to see, and you know them very well. And I was trying to think about something else that I could talk about. And I thought I was going to try and speak about each one separately. Something about Rabbi Schochet, something about Mrs. Schochet. And I started to think about the qualities that really are super special about them. And it dawned upon me that they're pretty much the same. They have a shared talent for what they do. And that is, the relationships they develop with their students is really unparalleled. The way they interact with you, not just in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, is truly unbelievable. Just this Monday night, senior night out, Mrs. Schochet, the fact that Rabbi Schochet went to the senior night out, okay, you went to senior night out. You wanted to hang out with you guys. Mrs. Schochet brought a little baby with her on the boat so she could hang out with the students and be with them and spend that time with them. Their dedication to the students outside of class is truly amazing. But I have to tell you, personally for me, what is something that I wish to emulate that they do with such ease is, despite the fact that they have a full busy schedule of teaching, they have Baruch Hashem a large family, they have many commitments they make in the community as well. And they also find time to talk to you in class, during lunch, during breakfast, here and there. That's pretty impressive on its own. But the fact that when I call a graduate in Israel, I call them before Rosh Hashanah time. And I say to them, so how's it going? They're like, oh, it's really well. It's going great. I just spoke to Rabbi Schochet twice already. I spoke to him before. He called me the first weekend, and everything that's going on. And then they tell me, we see a graduate over here, one of the visiting graduates comes over, and we start talking, they're like, yeah, we just spoke to Mrs. Schochet. She called us, we spoke to them. It's truly unbelievable that what these relationships they develop, and they're not just in the classroom, and not just while you're in school. But many of you feel this already, and know from your older siblings, and even the graduates who are here who are visiting, know that they take this responsibility of being a teacher, and the privilege of being a teacher, not just what takes place in the classroom. They feel this because they understand that a teacher is not just there to give you important information, it's not just there when they see you face to face, But what makes them so amazing, each one on their own and collectively together, what makes them so amazing is that they're able to continue relationships outside of school and when they're graduated already. It's unbelievable to see the learning that takes place, that they speak to them all the time, they schmooze with them, they talk to them. The first people, when graduates come here, the first people they come over to hug Rabbi Schochet, Mrs. Schochet. It is really unbelievable. It's truly my privilege to call them colleagues of mine, and it's something that I personally wish to emulate, I'm jealous of that, and wish to emulate those characteristics that they have. It gives me an honor to call upon Rabbi Schochet to speak to you in a few minutes.
First of all, on behalf of my wife and myself, I want to first of all thank our Rabbi Schochet, Mrs. Canner, Shira, Rabbi Yubin, Rabbi Horowitz, Dr. Becker for, it's an amazing thing to have one of the unbelievable things, we've been here already, thank God, for a number of years, and it's very easy at times to kind of get used to the place you work in, the kids you interact with, but every so often you get one of these reminders that our school is extremely unique in the way it treats and the way the interactions between teachers and students. Shira, about a week ago, sent an email to all the faculty, which she does every month, updating the faculty about the different programs that are going to take place during the upcoming month. And in one of the paragraphs, my wife was quite honestly brought to tears, which is usually what happens to me. She says that Shira says on Thursday, January 6th, we're going to have a baby bash to welcome Shlomo Schochet into the WYHS family, which on its own seems to be a very cute, very cheesy type of thing, but in reality it is something that, we spend more time with you than we do with our own families. None of our family lives here in Florida, and you certainly spend more time in my house than any of our families do, and quite honestly, everybody sitting in this room is really part of our extended family. And I have to tell you that the Friday night of the Shalom Zachar, my wife and I were kind of figuring, we'd have a few, high school kids come just to pay their tribute to us and to come and participate. But for those of us who were there, it was overwhelming how many boys and girls on a Friday night in a non-school program decided to take time out of their weekend, where maybe they had nothing more that they can get away from the teachers, but Dafka devoted and demonstrated their relationship with us. It was something that was unbelievable. And I'll take it one step further. At the bris, to have 30 or 35 of you come on a Monday morning when there's no school, and to get up for the 7 o'clock meeting is something that's truly special, and something that we feel very privileged to be able to be privy to. And it's the truth is, and I was thinking about it as I was coming up here. When my wife had the baby, she had the baby at 6:30 in the morning, and I came home quickly. I wanted to tell Tani that he had a brother. It was something that was obviously on my mind. And I was, debating, do I go to the shul shachris, do I go to the high school shachris? And I had no idea Rabbi Schochet was going to speak about me. Probably I would have gone to the shul shachris had I known. But I decided that all of you, who for the last 4 months, every day I come into class, boys and girls wanting to know, how's your wife feeling? When is she due? What's going on? Why is she overdue? Parents came up to us, the Shabbosos, after my wife was due and said, my kids are on shpilkis. They're nervous because they don't know when is Mrs. Schochet going to have the baby. That when you guys felt so invested in us and in our child, how could I not share with you the initial mazel tov that happened literally an hour and a half before? I wanted to spend a moment just, and everybody heard the name. Avram Shlomo was not generally consistent with my Mrs. Schochet type names, where she likes the more exotic. Those of you in my classes know the different tastes and names. But I wanted to share for one moment why we named our son Avram Shlomo. Avram Shlomo was my grandfather. Those of you who were in the school last year remember that my grandfather passed away about 13 months ago. I'm an oldest child and grandchild, so to be 32 years old and still have my grandparents is an unbelievable thing, and I had a very close relationship with my grandfather. And what I spoke about at the bris was there was one thing that was extremely unique about my grandfather, and as I was thinking about what I was going to share with you today, I realized it actually connects to something very powerful that I shared with my Torah Sheba'al Peh classes this year. We all know, or some of us know, that the Gemara tells us that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed for a very strange reason. They did not recite Berachos HaTorah. And there are many commentaries who struggle with this idea of how could simply not reciting a blessing wanted the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. And there are various answers given, but one of the answers I shared with my Talmidos just a few weeks ago, which I think is an unbelievably powerful answer, is al Pidrash. And I heard it from somebody from Gross, Gidon Shoshan, who quoted his Rebbe, Mayor Eugene from Chicago, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, who explained, Shein Mevarchen Batorah Tchila is not referring to Birchas HaTorah. Shein Mevarchen Batorah Tchila means that when the parents, during that generation of the Beis HaMikdash, when they were trying to prioritize, when they were trying to develop a hierarchy of what was important to them, Torah was not first. She'ein mevarchin b'Torah tchila. They want their kids to do well parnasa, they want them to be athletic, they want them to be healthy and social, and if they happen to be a Talmid Chacham, great! But if they don't, it's okay too. My grandfather, who unfortunately he grew up observant, but during those times in the 20s, if there were yeshivas, he grew up in a very, very poor family, had to go to public school, and didn't even have the chance to go to college because he had to begin helping to support his family at the age of 18. And his number one priority was that his children should be observant. That was it. He couldn't care about anything else. It didn't matter to him. He'd work overtime. All he cared about was getting his kids into yeshiva and prioritizing Yiddishkeit, Torah, Judaism as his number one priority. And Baruch Hashem, subsequently, since he made that decision, it's a pretty unusual situation, but all of his children, his grandchildren, and now his 15 great-grandchildren, every single person of ours, that side of the family, are Torah-observant Jews, which is a pretty amazing thing considering all that we're going up against as Orthodox. So, I think it's a tremendous zechus for him to be named after Avram Shlomo. But in addition to Avram Shlomo, from my grandfather, my wife's grandfather, who my father-in-law's father, he never had a chance to meet. He unfortunately was killed in World War II a little bit after my wife's grandmother got pregnant with my father-in-law. And although they never had an opportunity to meet him, they say that he was an unbelievable person. He died at a very young age. He was killed at war. And he demonstrated a tremendous amount of midos, of edelkeit, of soft-spokenness, things that we only wish that our Avram Shlomo inherits. And my bracha to Shlomo Shochet, is that he emulates the tremendous midos of his great-grandparents, that he inherits, that he takes those midos with him. And it's my bracha to all of us that as we all continue to learn together, and the Gemara says in a funny kind of way that your students become your children. And although I'm not going to pay your yeshiva tuition, I know that my wife and I feel very close to all of you, and we feel that you're b'nei bayis, you're people who knock on our door, random hours, text us, in high school, out of high school, post-high school, married, shy, whatever it is. But my bracha to all of you is that you emulate those same messages of all of our grandfather, Avram Shlomo, that you prioritize Yiddishkeit, that you prioritize Torah observance, and that including all of you, included with my new son, Avram Shlomo, that you continue to give all of your Judaic and college preparatory teachers continued nachas for many years to come. Thank you.